Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the NBA Front Office Show. The second round has begun. Some teams that were recently ousted might be looking at trades, plus a little bit of talk about the head coaching situation as well. We got a lot to dive into. I'm Trevor Lane. You can find me on Twitter at Trevor_Lane. Joining me as always, Keith Smith at Keith Smith NBA. Keith, how are you holding up? I know yesterday was a tough day.
It's all good, man. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's all part of sports. There's good signs when you rewatch the game that I don't think a lot of what Boston did well, I think, is very repeatable. I don't know that they're ever going to shoot quite as
Yes.
poorly as they did in game one again. Giannis and Drew Holiday will probably both shoot better, but I don't think the Bucks role players will shoot quite as well. So I think that'll balance out a little bit, and we'll see. Game two is now the most important game of the season because if they lose that one, there's no chance they're winning the series. I mean, I don't want to be all doom and gloom, but you're not winning 4 out of 5 against, I think, even without Chris Middleton. So big opportunity for them to get right back at it tomorrow night.
Keith, even my mentions were on fire because we both said Boston in 5. Oh, I had so
Mm-hmm.
many people that were just taking victory laps as soon as the Bucks won. I went, first of
Yeah.
all, I'm not saying I want Boston to win here. I'm just saying analytically that was the way I broke it down. But we did leave in there that hey, it's possible that Giannis just goes berserk, and that's kind of what we saw in this one. We also saw defensively, the Bucks did some things that I think we thought was interesting. But I thought that you're right though too. Part of it was Boston just missing shots, shots that they probably otherwise would make. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think you can count on Jalen Brown to shoot that poorly, Jason Tatum. So I don't think this series is as over as some people are making it out to be after one game.
Yeah, no, I think we're gonna get a longer series than either one of us thought.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's over by any means. I think there's a great opportunity for Boston to get this win, and then can see what works and force the Bucks to be the team that has to make the adjustments next time around and see where that goes. So there's still a lot of basketball to be played in this one.
On in the other game that we saw, which was Memphis and Golden State, the Warriors ultimately win by 1. Draymond Green ejected for a flagrant 2 foul. There's been a lot of debate over whether or not that should have been a flagrant 2, but regardless, Draymond Green ejected, and Memphis had a few guys go nuts. I mean, Jalen Jackson Jr., Jaren Jackson Jr. Sorry, was great. I just call him Triple J in my head, but he was
Yeah.
fantastic in this one, scoring. John Morant as well, and yet the Warriors still won. I'm seeing a lot of people out there saying, "Well, if you got that performance out of Jaren Jackson Jr., you've got that kind of scoring from Ja, all of the things that went well for you. Draymond Green ejected, and the Warriors still win. What chance do the Grizzlies really have?"
Yeah, I mean, they have a
Mm-hmm.
chance. I don't think we want to go too crazy with
I
this.
agree.
I think I would like to see Memphis play even faster than they did. I know that used to be the book of like you get caught in a running game with the Warriors and you're going to lose. They don't want to play that fast anymore. They're older now. They don't want to get up and down the way Memphis does. So I'd like to see the Grizzlies push pace even more. And then from the Warriors side, I think you saw what for their core guys, especially Curry and Thompson being out there at the end, and then Draymond in the earlier stages before he got ejected. I think you saw their championship kind of medal come
Mm-hmm.
through, like of hey, this is who we are. We're not going to panic. We don't overreact. They're going to go on a run, but we're not going to worry about it. And and they made enough plays, and Jordan Poole was great again. So I think we're in for a fun series. It's again, road team wins game one. It's really important for the home team to come back and at least make sure you're going on the road tied 1-1. So big game for Memphis coming tomorrow night too.
And then the game that we did a play-by-play for. By the way, I'll put the link in the description below. Officially, I think we're gonna do Wednesday night. We'll do what? Suns and Mavs Wednesday night game 2. We'll do another play-by-play.
Yeah, I think that'll probably be the one
Okay,
that works.
that sounds good. So we'll put the link in the description down below for another play-by-play show over on Playback. I know a lot of people enjoyed that, so I'm gonna put the link in the description now so you guys can see it, and it's there. You can bookmark that page. You can come join us on Wednesday as we'll take in that game. But the last game that we did one for was Game 6 of Memphis and Minnesota. Obviously, Memphis advancing, and now word is breaking from Mark Stein that around the NBA, there are some that are believing the Wolves will put D'Angelo Russell on the trade block. Now, he's a good friend of Karl Anthony Towns, so a little bit surprising in that sense, but we also saw D'Angelo Russell get benched. I mean, this is the most important stretch of your season. It's the fourth quarter, do or die, win or go home, and D'Angelo Russell is put on the bench in Minnesota. What are your thoughts on that? What kind of trade value might he have? Should the Wolves actually trade him? Let's discuss this for a moment.
You don't think his trade value is very good for Minnesota. That's a big contract. It is an expiring deal, but I just don't think you're getting all that much in return for him positive value wise. You could probably do one of those, hey, change of scenery type deals where you're looking to make a swap there, and it would make sense. I'd like to see them get someone with more 3-4 size in that grouping. If this is directly move Anthony Edwards to the 2, which is probably where ultimately he should be. But yeah, if you could get a 3-4 with some shooting ability, a little bit of size, and go that way, I think that would make some sense for sure. I'm not saying this is a trade that makes sense because I don't think it does, but like a Harrison Barnes kind of guy, somebody like that, I think could make some sense there. But yeah, this one's hard too because you have the Wolves factor in this where he's very good friends with Karl Anthony Towns. It was a big deal for them to play together and all that stuff, but that only goes so far. And when you've got 30 plus million sitting on your bench, you're probably looking to make a move.
Yeah, 31.3 million this next season expiring for D'Angelo Russell. So it'll be interesting to see what the Wolves do there, if that's something that they ultimately explore, if they do find a way to move on from him. We do have some updates here on the coaching front as well. Let's start with the Hornets. James Borrego getting surprisingly let go, and now Charlotte's out on the market. And Quinn Snyder is a name that has popped up with them, according to Stein. What are your thoughts on Quinn Snyder? I mean, we don't even know if he's going to be on the market or not. The Utah Jazz have said they want to keep him. So the only way he becomes a coach that's out there is if he decides he wants to leave Utah, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm not fully sold he's going to leave Utah, but if he does, I don't know that Charlotte's where he's necessarily headed. I think, I think there's a good chance if he leaves, he's probably going to go to the Lakers and try to, all right, hey, I'm here. Let's try to get this thing figured out together, and you'll really move this forward long term as a relationship. And because I think in Charlotte, you're facing a lot of the same challenges you had in Utah of, we got to get this right. It's a small market. We really got to nail every move. Otherwise, we kind of get stuck in a spot. And I think there's a sense of that's an impatient organization too. They don't necessarily see things through the whole way. So yeah, I think if he leaves Utah, he's probably going somewhere bigger, brighter lights. We'll move on that way.
Yeah. Agreed. I think that's probably where that will ultimately head. It'll be interesting to see who they do bring in, because most didn't see James Borrego as the reason for their problems. Now, I did see some Hornets fans who were excited about the move. Hornets fans do, but that's typical of any fan base, right? Anytime things don't go according to plan, or just about, the finger gets pointed at the coach first and foremost. That's just that's the nature of the beast. That's sports in general. Nurse and Nick Nurse and Quinn Snyder were both mentioned in regards to the Lakers. Again, I would be shocked. I mean, beyond shocked if Nick Nurse was available in any sort of capacity. I just don't see that happening. I mean, if you're the Lakers, if you're any team that needs a coach, it's the obligatory, yes, you have to find out, but you can't bake. I don't think even the Lakers could think that he is realistically available.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that one's off the table. We also heard Darvin Ham, assistant with the Bucks. He's been kind of a guy who's been through the process now for a handful of years. Is someone who's been on the interview path with several different teams, so it sounds like he's getting close. And then we also heard Mark Jackson, which that one's, I don't know, man. People seem to either really be like Mark Jackson needs another shot, or people are like, I don't know. It's funny. I think it was, I've listened to a lot of podcasts today, but I think it was maybe Ryan Russillo pointed out on Bill Simmons' podcast that Mark Jackson, they were doing they in the Warriors Grizzlies game, there was a play where Jeff Van Gundy went into all this detail about how like if you're gonna if you're gonna defend the small pick and roll, you got to cheat off Draymond and all this stuff. And Mark Jackson was like, "Well, you just switch it." And then Jeff Van Gundy was like, "Yeah, but then you're giving them exactly what they want, which is Morant guarding Stephen
Mm-hmm.
Curry, like, and that's what the Grizzlies want to avoid." And he, went into all this, and Mark Jackson was like, "Yeah, I guess you're right." And I was like, this is the guy everybody wants to be their head coach." Like the whole not criticizing player stuff, I don't get too worked up about that because I think that's like if you want to get back in the game, you're not going to do
Yeah.
that. But yeah, when it's simple strategy stuff, that seems a little odd.
Yeah, indeed. And I mean, I think when we step back and we look at Mark Jackson's coaching candidacy, how long has it been since he's been a head coach? It's been a while.
Yeah, a
It's been a
while,
while.
at least 5, 6 years. Yeah,
Why
probably even
why
longer.
is he still out there? I keep coming back to that.
Yeah.
And I've got look, he's super
Yep.
polarizing. I mean, I hear Lakers fans every day, fans of other teams too, saying Mark Jackson is great. Look at the Warriors. He poured the foundation for that team. Steve Kerr just kind of took
Hmm.
it to the next level, but Mark Jackson's a fantastic coach. I've got other people saying Mark Jackson is not a good coach at all. He's going to create problems within the
Yep.
organization, all that kind of stuff. So he's extremely polarizing, but I just keep going back to that. What is it that has prevented an NBA team from hiring him for the last 5, 6, 7, however many years it's been? To me, that is the thing that speaks the loudest here and gives me cause for concern. I hope if somebody hires him, if it's the Kings, if it's the Lakers, I hope he has great success. I hope it works out
Yeah.
fantastic. That would just give me pause. It feels like the teams that have been interviewing him, that have been doing these, really do the digging on it. Obviously, there's some reason why he hasn't been a coach since then.
Yep. Yeah, could completely agree. Yeah, it is. I think those are all fair questions to ask, and that's part of what the process is too. Is like, all right, you've been at least mentioned and maybe even interviewed for several of these jobs over the last, several years since you've been out of coaching. Why hasn't it happened? And what do you think the reasons are? And we should note too, Mark Stein says that he really impressed Vivek
Mm-hmm.
Ranadive, and that he's really maybe has that shot at the Kings job. So maybe this is all this Lakers portion of the discussion is all meaningless because maybe he's going to get the Kings job. But I do think it is we'll see because there's definitely going to be questions to be answered of all right, hey, since you've been out, like what did you learn and what are you going to do differently this time around? That's going to lead you to be more of a success. And I would hope the answer isn't just nothing. I want to do exactly what I did before because I don't think that's going to go really well.
Well, and Stein did mention that he will be on the Lakers list if he doesn't get the Sacramento job. Mark Jackson will, but he doesn't get the sense that has a strong chance of getting the job in LA. So something to note there as well.
Yep. Yep.
Let's talk. So tonight we get game one between the Mavs and the Phoenix Suns, which I think is going to be a really exciting series and one that I'm looking forward to. But we got a little bit of news. I mean, Jalen Brunson has been fantastic. I don't know where the Mavs would be. They'd probably be at home without Jalen Brunson
Oh
in
yeah,
this series.
without a
He's
doubt.
been absolutely fantastic, particularly in those games without Luka. Brunson's been incredible. Dallas is confident, despite the fact that he's the one of certainly, if not the biggest gettable player, because I don't count restricted free agents, that's going to be out there on the free agent market this summer. But Dallas is confident that they will re-sign him. Now, they're not going to put out anything else really. So if it's a Dallas source, they're not going to say, "Oh, we're not confident that we can keep him. He's gone." They're not going to put that out right now.
Yeah, of
But
course.
still, the fact that that's kind of getting out that Dallas is confident that they can keep him makes you wonder. What lengths are they willing to go to? What are they willing to pay? Because this is a guy that's in line for a big raise.
Yeah, and if you're Jalen Brunson, smaller guard, he's made in NBA terms nothing in his career to this point. Like, yeah, he's gonna want tons and everything that's coming his way. So they're absolutely gonna have to pony
Mhm.
up for him and really get this big payday coming his way because. Now the challenge is, as you kind of mentioned, it's not a great free agent market. There's not a ton of teams with cap space, so I think it's gonna start to be one of those things where, all right, how do we, manufacture a market that gets him paid more, even if the idea is like Dallas is, hell bent on keeping him. Because for him to change teams to a team that really makes sense, because I don't know that the Pistons make sense. I mean, maybe they could because Cade Cunningham's kind of Luka-ish as far as a high volume wing player who's going to have the ball quite a bit, or high usage wing player, I should say. So maybe that's where that goes. But yeah, it's we'll see. If they get involved. The Pacers, I don't think so. I mean, that was thrown out there, but they've got other guards, so I'm not sure that one makes sense. And Rick Carlisle and Brunson didn't seem to get along well. The Spurs don't make sense with their whole host of guards. So then it becomes, all right, well, then the next thing is a sign and trade. And Dallas then kind of controls that process as far as the back end of it. Sign part sounds great, but you got to have the trade part too to make it work. So I think that starts to become a whole thing. Where does that go?
Absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see. He's going to have one of the most fascinating free agency. Is certainly going to be a name that's going to be discussed quite a bit this offseason. So we'll see where he winds up. But Dallas, I mean, I think staying with Dallas, that's got to be the favorite. Like if we were to put odds on where he winds up, which I'm sure is out there somewhere, I haven't looked them up, but I would have to imagine Dallas has got to be still the favorite in this situation.
Yeah, I agree. I tend to think too. This doesn't seem like a situation where Brunson's like, I got to get out of here. I don't want to be here anymore, and all that. So yeah, so I do think there's a chance that this is how this goes, and he just says, no, I'm just sticking around. I'm not going anywhere.
All right, jumping from one Jalen to another, Jalen Suggs had surgery on his right ankle, dealing with a stress fracture there. Man, I mean, not good news. I guess it's early enough, but how much do you think this offsets or sets off his off-season training program? And I think that's got to be a concern for the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, no, the Magic did say like the hope is that let me pull it up so I'm not butchering the press release on this one, but it was basically he had his surgery. Jeff Weltman, Magic president of basketball operations, says he's expected to resume basketball activities this summer, make a full recovery for the start of training camp. In assessing Jalen's right ankle at the conclusion of the season, consulting with multiple doctors, we came to the determination to undergo this preventative measure. So it was a slight stress fracture in his right ankle. We feel by addressing this now, Jalen can still have a productive summer leading into training camp. Now, he had the surgery last week. There's no kind of timeline listed or anything like that. The ankle was a problem throughout the year. The biggest worry is my guess, and maybe I'm off because we're still 2 months away, is that he's not going to be available for Summer League.
Right.
Just kind of the way that reads, where like he'll be ready to go by training camp. Well, technically true. Summer League being ready for that would mean you are ready for training camp, but I think they would call it out if it was Summer League, and that's a loss for him because that's lost reps that he needs and could get. So I think that's tough for him.
Should he be a guy who plays in Summer League? Because I know there's a lot of guys that are kind of like on the edge of that. So you think Summer League would do him good and benefit him?
Yeah, 100%. I think Scotty Barnes, Evan Mobley, guys who were high picks on, basically the playoff teams. I know the Cavs didn't finish it off, but yeah, I don't, think that you go, with those guys, they don't need to go. There's nothing really to be gained for them, unless they really want to go and get some reps. Cade Cunningham, I think, should go. That's one of those, though, go, you make your cameo, you play in the first game or two, and then you're done. But yeah, I think they those guys should be there. I think, Jalen Suggs, definitely. If you didn't have a absolutely like ridiculously good rookie year and you're healthy, you should be at Summer League. I even think that with the second year guys as well should be there too.
Selfishly, I agree with you. I want to see everybody there because
sure.
we'll be there.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to be there and everybody to play.
Yep.
But it's interesting to see because I can understand why teams would have a little bit of trepidation about some of their top picks playing in Summer League, particularly after they've already done it for a year. Because Summer League, it's got 90% of the guys out there are guys that are competing for a chance to get noticed. So that means they're all going 120 miles an hour, right? So you've got you've got that aspect of it. It's not super, I mean, it's organized, of course, but you've got teams that are just kind of being thrown together. They've practiced a little bit together, but it's not like they're a well-oiled machine or anything by any means. You've got tons of players rotating in and out. You've got guys given every single thing that they've got, flying all over the court. It feels like, to me, if I was an NBA GM, I'd be pretty nervous putting my prized draft picks out there, particularly if they've already experienced it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I look at it as they're going to play somewhere. It's still structured.
Sure.
It's, these guys go play somewhere. I have no problem with putting them out there on the court for somewhere. Like, I feel like if if you've already kind of proven everything you need to prove, and it's like, cool, Scotty Barnes is going to go physically dominate some rookies and G League guys and dunk on them. Like, what? Yeah, I don't see what he gets out of that. Now, if we came in the Raptors were like, you know what, Scotty Barnes is going to be our full-time offensive initiator, our point guard, like, well, that's how we're going to run things, then yeah, maybe if you want to get him some of those reps doing those kind of things, that would be fine. But yeah, I think for the most part, like, yeah, let's just kind of go and move on with this stuff, because I just don't. It's best to get these guys out there in a structured environment and let them play.
No, I think that's a great point. That's a great point. That regardless, they're going to play somewhere. I mean, I just saw on his Instagram, Montrezl Harrell was posting videos of him just in a pickup game somewhere, and he's launching threes and doing all this kind of. They're playing. They're going to play somewhere. At least it's a little bit more structured around NBA trainers and all of that.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we've got some exciting games tonight, even more coming up tomorrow. And then remember, we will do our play-by-play Wednesday night. We'll do Suns versus Mavs. We'll do the later game for that one. But thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you do subscribe to the NBA Front Office YouTube channel. Don't forget to ring the notification bell as well. Get notified when we put out a new video. Going to be a busy off season, so make sure that you are staying in the know. And of course, make sure you're also following us over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. We love getting those reviews coming in as well. So drop us a review and preferably a 5-star rating. Till next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.